welcome to Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. As many of our viewers know, our program went on the air in 1955. And so it's not often that we welcome a fellow UVM organization that shares an equally lengthy heritage in a history that is no less beloved. The UVM Lane Series was established nearly 70 years ago by a generous gift from the Lane family, and as presenting the finest in live performing arts since 1955. Today we'll be previewing the spring 2024 season. Our guest is the director of the Lane Series, Natalie Neuert. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, this is quite an event in our series of events. Can you tell me how many performances you're expecting this spring?
We have, I think, 12 performances this spring, which is sort of back to pre-COVID levels, so we're excited about that.
And how long does the season run?
We run pretty much on the academic year, so we start in September and we end usually in early May.
All right, and a performance is amazing in and of itself, but a lot of the times the venue can really make or break an event like that. Can you tell me about where these are held?
Sure. So we're really lucky to have one of the finest acoustic spaces in New England. It's the UVM Recital Hall, which recently underwent a full renovation, so it's even better. And it's a beautiful little intimate 300-seat hall. It's extremely comfortable, beautiful seats, beautiful lighting and sound, but what's really precious is the acoustic. So we could take out all the audio, all the fancy equipment, and just have someone on that stage speaking or singing or playing the piano. And it's just perfect. You can hear a pin drop in there. So we feel very lucky.
And you talked about that, the intimacy of the space. What does that really bring to having performing arts there?
Well, I mean, the performer is really right there. There's not a bad seat in the hall. You just feel like you have a connection to them and they can communicate with you really directly, no matter what they're doing. So, you know, I think people get sort of addicted to that. It's an extremely different experience than going to a 1,000-seat hall or a 100,000-seat auditorium or, you know, a stadium concert. It's just, in some ways, it's a much better way to listen to music. But of course, the economics of that are that we can only sell 300 tickets, and we do sell out a lot of our shows. So we encourage people to buy early.
Yeah, that's good to know if you're interested in visiting the Lane Series this spring.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 12 acts over about 5 months.
That's right.
But let's jump into it with maybe our first act you're going to be having. So I believe we're going to see a clip of Arkai. That's beautiful, and it's just the two of them in the performance. Can you tell me when they're going on?
Yeah, that, I think, opens the season on January 26th. And Arkai are interesting because they're young, classically trained performers. They went to Juilliard. They were, you know, the top level classical cellist and violinist. But they've sort of moved their performance into a more electronic kind of media. So their music is all original, but very melodic and beautiful, and they're masters of their instruments. But the instruments don't look quite like the classical violin and cello. They're electronic instruments. So it's a new thing for us to do, and we're excited, and we think students will be really excited about it.
Yeah, a bit of a modern twist on something a little
more classic. They use looping technology and different kinds of technology in their playing, but I think for a traditional classical audience, they would enjoy it as well.
Yeah, so maybe a spin on something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
And of course, there are going to be tons of performances, so let's look at maybe one coming up in February. It sounds like you have some actors from the London stage. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we don't normally do theater. We've done this company a few times. We've presented them, and we've never been able to present them in our own hall, so we've always brought them to another space, like Royal Tyler Theatre or the Flynn space. But this year, because of the renovation, we realized we can do theater in there because we have proper lighting and a stage crossover with entrances on both sides. We didn't used to have that. So we love this company. They're some of the finest actors from the London stage. If you went to see theater in the West End of London, you might see these performers. And they do Shakespeare. They're doing Midsummer Night's Dream. They do it with only 5 actors. So they double, triple, quadruple roles. They do a change of hat, a change of bow tie, a change of sweater, and then you know that they're playing a different person. It's brilliant. And it really, like, the audience just comes along with them in the story. So I think that's really appropriate for all ages. I think you could happily bring, like, kids to it, they would enjoy it. It's Shakespeare's most accessible comedy, really. So I think that's a fun one, and we're excited to do theater again.
Yeah, and with only 5 people on the stage, it's always fun. It's almost like the audience is going along with you with the different production components of it, changing hats and costumes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Midsummer Night's Dream probably has 20 characters in it, or more maybe. So it's really quite a feat of theatrical skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So going from theater to something that's a little bit more traditional for the Lane series, I believe you're having a classical musician, Jeremy Dank, coming, and he's coming in February. Can you tell me a little bit about what he's playing?
Yeah, Jeremy Dank is sort of America's great expert on Bach, on the music of Bach, and he plays everything, and he's really considered like in the top 10 of American pianists. He's a brilliant, brilliant pianist and educator, and we're hoping that he'll come and do a little talk also. He's playing Bach and an all Bach program, and this is a program he did at Carnegie Hall. So that's something we pride ourselves on at the Lane series, that these are artists that you can see for a reasonable price right here in Burlington in a very easy and accessible way, that the next night they might be playing in in Montreal in a major hall, at Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center in New York, Boston Symphony Hall. So it's really, I think Lane brings a very, very high level of performer, and Jeremy Dank is no exception. So we are known for bringing solo classical piano, and we've kind of upped the ante on the level of the artists we're bringing. So Jeremy Dank is right up there with the best.
Definitely an act to see.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, that's going to selling very quickly. So.
Oh, absolutely. Make sure you get your tickets.
Yes, if you want that to Jeremy Dank, for sure.
And you wanted to highlight, I believe, a singer, Kat Edmondson. Can you tell me a little about her?
Sure. We've sort of traditionally tried to have jazz vocalists sort of leading up to, and if we're lucky, on Valentine's Day. So this is a February show. And Kat, she's charming. She's just she's a lovely jazz singer. She's coming with a pianist, and she'll sing things from the Great American Songbook, and some of her original stuff as well is just delightful. And she's very special, and she's really making a name for herself on the New York jazz scene, but also in theater. I think she's one of those people we might see move up to Broadway or to off-Broadway as an actress as well as a singer. So that's just a sort of traditionally fun way to spend Valentine's Day. It's romantic music, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're wrapping up our preview with 2 different blues artists. So I believe we're starting first with the guitarist Ron Artis II and his band The Truth. I believe you described this as one of the buzzier presentations. Can you tell me a little bit about the band?
Yeah, I saw Ron at a conference or a music festival called Folk Alliance. Although he's not really a folk artist, he's much more of a traditional blues artist. He's from Hawaii, which is really interesting, and he's the son of musicians. So he just grew up steeped in the blues. He's got a great voice, he's an amazing guitar player, and he really has a solid band behind him. So it's buzzy, but it's also going to be like a big show for us with 5 or 6 on stage and a full band and him singing his heart out. So if you love the blues, I would definitely consider that one. It's going to be a fun show. And he's young and energetic and charming and very grateful to be on stage. You just feel like there's so much joy in his performance. So he stood right out to me. I knew I wanted to bring him.
Absolutely, yeah. And then with a small venue like that, I feel like the presence will feel a lot stronger as well.
Yeah, we have to be careful of that because sometimes, there used to be an old audio ad where people were listening to a speaker and their hair was being blown back. Our hall can be like that, you can be overwhelmed by the sound. And for a long time, the Lane series was mostly classical music. We've changed that. So it's, now about half and half. And we have to be really careful with the rock shows, blues shows, pop shows, that they're not too much. But we have a great sound person and we control it, and I think it's a fun experience. It's more like hearing blues in a club than in a big hall.
Absolutely. And to round out our preview, I think we have one more artist, Yasmin Williams, and she's also a guitarist, and she's a solo artist. I think she's playing May 3rd. We can actually take a listen to her song, Sun Showers. Sorry, Keith, I forgot to mention the last word. I believe this is actually a personal favorite of our producer, Keith Silva, so we wanted to mention that himself. Can you remind us when she's playing?
She's playing May 3rd. She ends the season, and she's a very special performer. There's like a funny little thing about her, which is that she actually picked up the guitar quite late, and her interest in it started from playing Guitar Hero, the video game.
Wow.
So she mastered all the levels of Guitar Hero, and then she thought, I better learn to play the guitar. So, and you can see from the clip, she uses the guitar in very interesting ways. She's extremely rhythmic player, so she uses it as a drum, as well as she picks and she strums, and she's got an incredible level of mastery, and her music is gorgeous. I mean, you can hear that, all original. So yeah, we're excited about that. It feels like a real coup. She played at Waking Windows, the indie rock festival in Winooski about 4 years ago.
Nice, and she's coming back.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that like people know about her, and yeah.
So it sounds like you have a variety of acts from a variety of different music backgrounds. Can you tell me a little bit about how you usually source the people coming to the Lane Series?
Well, I listen to music all the time. I try to see it live as much as possible. So I go to festivals where I can see a lot in one place. So I'll go to folk festivals and jazz festivals and Celtic music festivals. I do get to travel a lot for music, which is a great part of my job. Next week I go to New York to our big industry conference where artists showcase. So I'll see about 30 or 40 acts over 5 days. It's
something to look forward to for next
great.
year.
It's a little overwhelming, but it's great.
I want to quickly give the viewers a chance to know where can they get tickets before we wrap up.
Sure. Our website is uvm.edu/Lane Series. I'm hoping you have a graphic.
Absolutely.
We have the easiest UVM phone number, 656-4455, if you want to call us. We do pick up the phone. We help people. We have good customer service. You can order online or by calling. And you know, we hope some new people will come and try us out. It's a really great way to just feel the importance and intimacy and immediacy of live music. So
absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And that wraps up another Across the Fence. I want to thank everyone at WCAX who makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Jolie Whitney. Have a good one.